Hey, welcome to Graphic Policy Television GPTV. I'm Brett. It's Wednesday, which means it's brand new comic book day. New comics are in the shelves all across the world. Digitally, physically, it's the best day of the week because it's new comic book day. Now in my hands is a brand new comic. This is Crude #1. Now, this is a little bit different in that I got this first issue from the Skybound Mega Box that is out, came out last week, so we got this a little bit before it hit comic book shelves. So technically I paid for this. Obviously Image also gives us, and Skybound gives us, review copies, so, you know, it's kind of a little mix. Technically I paid for this, though. So this is by Steve Orlando, also Garry Brown and Lee Loughridge. Steve Orlando is the writer, Garry Brown's artist, Lee Loughridge colorist, Thomas Maurer letterer, Arielle Basich is the editor, and John Moisan is the editor. Arielle is the associate editor. I don't know if I said that. Alright, so how do I describe the story? So basically, this is like... So you know how in the redo of Bond, the lace and stuff, it was like all gritty and just really like... just kind of like bloody and just, you know, people were just beat to crap, and it was very like, I don't know how the best way to describe it, like that just like guttural violence aspect of it all. It's kind of crude. So it takes place in Russia. It's about this family, father and son, who don't have the best relationship. The father is an assassin or something of that nature, hitman, however you want to describe it. Son doesn't know this. Not going to go into details. But the father has to go and basically avenge his son, go into this area and kind of figure out what happened. And that is, I guess, a spoiler, really, but it is, but it isn't, because I'm not really saying what happens to the son. And it's really kind of about regrets and relationships and, you know, not living in the present, I guess is the best way, kind of one way to describe it. Neglecting family and friends, a whole bunch of stuff in there. And the thing is like, it's just guttural is the best way to describe it. It is a guttural comic. This is, you know, while it's not super bloody, like you're not seeing blood and people all kind of beat up and all that, there's just something to it that is just like rough and gritty and grimy. It's a fascinating read. And I really am looking forward to seeing what the rest of it is like. Now, the interesting stuff is it's in Russia. So Steve Orlando does some writing, kind of that like choppy English. That I'm not sure if I'm totally sold on. I think I'd rather have it smooth English with like, hey, everything's translated from Russian. That might have worked a little bit better. But that's probably my only issue with it. There is something about it, though, that adds a little bit of flavor to the comic. So even though I'm not completely sold on it, and at times thought it was a little irritating, and my mind kept on like completing sentences, it does add to the feel and the setting of the comic really, really well. I have a feeling without that, it might have just felt like Anywhere USA. I mean, you could easily have done this story in like the oil fields of Texas or whatever, Minnesota, I think is a big, North Dakota or something like that, I think are big areas. You could have easily translated. So in that sense, like, it's not a bad thing to have it. It's just one where I'm like not completely sold since it should be translated, and minor quibble, but I also think it adds just a lot of the flavor to the comic. The art is awesome. Like, when I talk about the grittiness, like the art fits that grittiness. I'm going to show just a couple of the pages because I don't want to ruin the story. But like, as you can see here, like this is just, it's a brutal comic, but it's not over the top violent. We're not talking like a Tarantino film where it's just beyond humorous violence. It's kind of dialed down, which I think adds to the brutality a little bit more. Like you could hear bones crunching is I think a great way of putting it. So this is out in comic shops today. If you haven't figured it out yet, like, this is a definite recommend for me. I think it's an awesome comic, really good, highly recommend it. You can go get it in comic shops today. First and foremost, go support your comic book shops. There is a link beneath this video. You can go put in your zip code. It'll tell you if a shop's near you. If there's no shop near you, well, then we got affiliate links beneath this video that can you can help go and get this comic. Highly recommend it. I think this is one that was kind of under my radar. Steve Orlando is an amazing writer. Actually, the whole team, like art, inks, everything. Like they're all top-notch creators. And the fact that this is like basically fell in my lap in a box, I am super happy about that, because I might admit, like, this might have gotten overlooked for some other stuff, but yep, have this copy, so I kind of want to check it out. This is obviously a limited edition variant, so you're gonna have to go and get the regular version unless you can find this one. Definitely go get it. It's in comic shops now. If you're into Skybound, if you're into Image, you're into comic books, if you are into Steve Orlando or any of the other creators, check us out every single day at graphicpolicy.com. We're on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Tumblr, all at Graphic Policy, keeping it nice and consistent. So until next time, keep reading those comics and keep it geeky. Hey, thanks for watching the previous video from Graphic Policy Television. Just by watching, you help support our site. Thank you so much. Now, if you're watching these videos, you probably care about geeky things like movies, television, comic books, toys, games, video games, you name it. You can go and subscribe right now to our YouTube channel to stay in touch and catch all the new videos, or check out our website at graphicpolicy.com. There's a nice link on this end of the video. But as always, thank you for watching. Keep on rocking and keep it geeky.